have come to a crossroad. Freedom is a fragile thing, and it's never more than one generation away from extinction. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation.
Well, for this generation, I think the COVID pandemic birthed a new kind of patriot. A mom and pop miscreant with fire in their eyes, ready to defend the American individual's freedom to live how we choose. But this time, these patriots weren't defending freedom on the battlefield, but in the small business.
Why did you agree over it?
Because I had no other choice, because I couldn't feed my family.
But the one thing we will not do is stay closed.
The opportunity I have to make my own way is being threatened.
COVID, it's back. Back with more masks and vaccine mandates and talks of coming to full lockdowns as well. And while we may have enjoyed a sense of normalcy this summer,
if I wait, my business gets shut down.
Small business owners have been grappling with the insane control over their livelihood since the pandemic began.
Freedom can never be subjugated to fear.
Like COVID, government control is a virus, and it is spreading fast into every facet of our lives. It has to stop now.
Formally, you are all in violation of the executive order. On that note, have a good day. Everybody be safe.
Thank you.
Tonight, I take you to California to the Cronies Sports Bar, a small business you helped months ago, but a small business that is now facing a whole new battle in their war against COVID control. Tonight, small business criminals. COVID tyranny rises again.
Hello, America. Hello, and welcome to the program. I am dressed in what is best described as a couch from a 1970s camper because we are going on the road. It also distracts you from my Scarface. I was in a knife fight with George Soros. You should see what he looks like. Tonight, we're going to California, where a small business, in fact, several small businesses are fighting for their life against the city, against the county, and now, apparently, against their landlord. It's all because this one small business decided that the government didn't have the right to tell them you can't pursue your happiness that way. And they did nothing wrong. They just opened their doors. But they're not alone. Thousands of small businesses around the country are now having to make the same exact decision. Will they return to living in a state of fear where no matter if they obey or step out of line, it's game over? Or will they take a stand against the truly unconstitutional things that our leaders are now pushing? Just last week, the Department of Homeland Security issued a new terrorism warning bulletin. You know, like the one it released back in May that warned without any specific evidence, just a tip from the Postal Service intelligence. Anyway, they said that there was a rise in, quote, anti-government or anti-authority violent extremists. Well, this new bulletin elaborates on that. For the remainder of the year, the DHS is going to be on the lookout for alleged extremists who, quote, disagree with the potential reestablishment of public health restrictions across the United States, end quote. I mean, we shouldn't pay attention to the actual terrorists that Biden just gave Afghanistan to, or seize billions of dollars worth of U.S. military equipment. No. They deserve diplomacy. The real threat is you. Yeah. If you disagree with them, you know, if you're like, hey, I just vacuumed in here. Get your big black boots out of my living room because you're trampling all over my rights and the very thing that made America what it is, you know, free, our entrepreneurial spirit, our right for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The promise that anyone can make it, no matter where they start. I know that's not popular, but I've done it, and I've met people of all colors that have done it. That promise is what makes people hold on to an airplane knowing that they're not going to last and fall from the sky. It is the desperate hope that maybe I can make it to America. Last week, I talked to some immigrants on the radio who came here firmly believing that America is the last great hope in the world. The images coming out of Afghanistan alone have put that hope on the ropes. Couple that with the harassment of America's small business owners, and where is our Declaration of Independence? Where is the promise that it writes about? Where is the hope? You know and I know America has to get its house in order. I know, and I think you know, that it's going to be a slog getting there. Tonight, I'm going to introduce you to some Americans who are just like you, and they're leading the way out. First, I want to start here. The data is very clear. The Delta variant of the coronavirus is overtaking much of the country, spreading much faster than it was just a few months ago. But according to the CDC, and damn it, Jim, they're doctors, we're now seeing the highest nationwide weekly average of new cases since January. Thankfully, however, the death rate has stayed lower. But the Delta variant isn't the only thing that's spreading. Oh, no. With the surge in the pandemic comes a surge of another virus that devastated America last year, and that is the virus called government tyranny. A few weeks ago, the CDC once again recommended that everyone wear a mask in some indoor areas, even if you're vaccinated. California, Louisiana, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, St. Louis, and many other states and cities across the nation quickly fell in line. Okay, so we can save people if we stay at home, or you could lose your liberty if you stay at home, or apparently now, if you don't stay at home. It's like they get us any way we're going. These are just the mask mandates that are coming in, right? I mean, does it really hurt you to wear a mask? Yeah, actually, I think it does in many ways. Do you remember the 15 days to slow the spread? America today is 520. So forgive us for not believing for a second that the government edicts are going to end anytime soon and end at mask mandates. Shortly after the CDC returned to recommending that vaccinated people mask up, President Biden was out there telling reporters that, quote, let me translate senile old man into English, in more probability, more restrictions are coming. If this escalates all the way down to lockdowns, what do you do? And what does that mean for our small businesses that are barely hanging on? We're still feeling the effects of the first round of shutdowns, which was over a year ago. The Federal Reserve estimates that more than 200,000 more businesses permanently closed in the first year of the pandemic than typically do in an average year. And how many of the ones that survived barely made it through all the restrictions and lost income? Some business owners decided to stand up against the government tyranny that forced them to close their doors, no matter how many safety precautions they put in place. They were called reckless and selfish and killers by the media. Many were fined enormous sums of money for defying the overlords and daring to keep their businesses open. Some others were even jailed. You recall Shelley Luther. She's the woman that owns Salon a la Mode here in Dallas. She almost had me to get a haircut there because I thought you also got ice cream, but you don't. Anyway, she was one of the first small business owners to make national news for defying the lockdowns. Back in April of 2020, Luther decided to reopen her salon before her state and county said she could. She was fined thousands of dollars and ordered to close back down, but after keeping her doors open, a Dallas County judge sentenced her to 7 days in jail. Well, the outcry in support of Luther eventually reached the Texas Supreme Court, which quickly ordered her release. But other business owners weren't so lucky. May 18th, 2020, Atlas Gym, New Jersey, they reopened in defiance of the governor's lockdown orders. Still, they were only operating at 20% capacity and required all members to check their temperatures and fill out medical waivers. Despite this, the owners were issued disorderly conduct citations, which can carry up to 6 months of jail time. And when they didn't stop there, the governor himself called them out during a press conference. The battle continued until July, when both of the gym's owners were arrested for refusing to shut back down. However, they still continued to defy the orders. By the end of the year, Atlas Gym has racked up now over $1.2 million in state fines. But as 2020 came to an end, we also saw the largest COVID spike so far. And with it came yet another round of government attempts to make criminals out of small business owners. Back in December, I introduced you to Dave Folds. Dave is the co-owner of Cronies Sports Grill in Agora Hills, California. When I first spoke to him, he was being fined $500 a day for defying Los Angeles County's ban on outdoor dining. Here's what he told me at the time about why he stayed open.
I have been told that you're struggling to make it to Christmas. Are you going to lay people off before Christmas? Are you going to close your doors?
Well, my partners made a commitment that we're not before Christmas. We don't want to lay people off. It's just you don't do that, and that's almost like the way my philosophy and how I'm thinking right now before Christmas is the exact way the health department and other authorities and other government agencies should be looking at us. We need help right now. The last thing I need is a fine.
Despite this, the fines continued. By the time the county lifted its outdoor dining ban, Cronies had been fined $24,000. My radio audience, however, maybe many of you, stepped up and was able to raise thousands of dollars for Cronies and other businesses. Sadly, that wasn't the end of Dave's troubles. Just 2 days before the outdoor dining ban was lifted in January, the Los Angeles County sued Cronies for committing the, quote, public nuisance of serving food outdoors. Cronies is still in court fighting this battle today, but they were recently hit with an even worse lawsuit. Last month, the city of Agora Hills brought criminal charges against Cronies for operating without a health permit and a business license. Wait until you hear that story. Dave joined me on the radio shortly after to explain that the city has refused to grant Cronies these permits because it had defied the lockdowns. These new criminal charges could place Dave in jail for a year, all for trying to keep his business open. Dave joins me now live from Cronies Sports Bar with the latest on his fight for freedom that I think we can all appreciate, the freedom to earn a living. Dave, welcome.
Definitely. Hey, Glenn, thanks so much for having me on the show today. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all you do and what your show does for the people in our country.
Is everybody there labeled an extremist now in Agora Hills? Because I see you operating and people are there.
Well, people are here. In fact, and a lot of the people are my friends. I'm part of a coalition called B.R.A.V.E. It stands for businesses representing American values and enterprises. And these people are patriots, and these people stand behind small businesses and understand how many people fought for our rights and how easily and how quickly it seems that they're going away. So we have so many people in our community who support us.
So you were abiding by the rules. You've weathered 2 lockdowns, ever-changing health guidelines. You've had thousands of dollars in fine, 2 lawsuits. How do you survive all of this?
Well, Glenn, it's actually 3 lawsuits now. It's the County of Los Angeles Health Department is suing us for dining outdoors when we were trying to survive. And yes, they were charging us $500 to $1,500 a visit in fines. We also have the city of Agora Hills with criminal charges, like you said, that I can be in jail for a year because we stayed open. And then I also have the landlord now processing eviction papers for us operating without a business license. And I really feel as though that they're being pressured by the city of Agora Hills because they're holding them accountable for renting to someone who doesn't have a license. And the crazy thing is, I haven't had my due process yet in regards to this license or the health department.
So when do you have that day in court?
Well, we're supposed to, you'll be talking to my attorney, Rhonda Baldwin Kennedy, and it's put off till September. They're having some pre-trial meetings, which they do, which I'm learning more and more about politics and how the courts work, and it's crazy, Glenn, but it's going to happen sometimes in September.
Okay, so what does victory look like for you? Obviously not going to jail.
Well, when we were sued by the county, these were not criminal charges. And I felt very proud, and I felt as though we can go all the way to the Supreme Court with this, because you have an administrative hearing which you lose. You have an appeals hearing which you can probably lose also, most likely, which isn't a real trial. It's just people who work for the health department have their attorneys and they make a decision. And then you could take it to court, and you could even move up higher and higher to possibly the Supreme Court. And I was all excited about that and wanting to continue fighting. But then the city of Agora Hills got involved with this, and I felt very unnecessarily they got involved with this. And this is not their fight, but they decided to make criminal charges, and criminal charges are very serious. We're talking, this is a real trial with a jury, with a judge, with a bailiff, with the handcuffs, with the jail time possibly. And it was a very simple case. You're operating without a license, and I guess technically we don't have one because it was wrongfully taken away from me. So I feel as though we do have a license, and but they feel as though we don't. So it could have been very serious for me.
You're facing a jury of 12 of your peers. However, your peers all live in California, so it's not like Texas. It's not like America, really, for many people. You have got to have a lot of people very angry at you.
Well, we do have a lot of people angry, and we have a lot of people who support us. But let me tell you something. Here's the crazy thing. When people were upset about this, when we stayed open, a lot of people would call us, and they would actually say, I'd like to order a kill my grandpa burger, and hang up on us. Very sarcastic, very mean things. And then some people would actually call and say, I want to speak to the owner. And my partners and I would actually call these people, and I would talk to these people sometimes for a half hour. And the first thing they would say is, I'm shocked that you called me back. But I'm angry at you. By the time the conversation progressed, and I explained our circumstances and the sacrifices that I've made to keep this business open, by the end of the conversation, they said, Dave, thank you for calling me. And I'm so surprised, and I didn't see things your way. I'm glad you called, and I'm going to lay off, and I'm going to tell my friends to lay off. I promise you, man, this has happened a number of times, and it's amazing when people actually sit down and understand my dire situation. So you would not be in this situation if you just would have gone along to get along. So why is it so important that you're risking jail time? I mean, you're right. A lawsuit is one thing. That's money. The other is a year in jail. Why are you doing it? No, you're right. And well, at the beginning we did it for survival. And I promise you, this location here, this Cronies location, could not survive with just takeout orders only. That's not our deal. We offer an experience. We offer great food in-house dining, sandwiches, burgers, and the whole thing, and breakfast. Takeout's not our thing. We could not survive, and we had to do it. We could not afford to close down. And not only that, when you close down, you lay people off. And when you lay people off, they get other jobs, and then they don't come back. So we just couldn't do it. And by the way, it was like you said, it was during Christmas time. You don't lay people off during Christmas. You don't lay people off when you don't have to. And I tell you something, my partners and I are so proud that we did that, because every day people who work for us would come up to us and say, Dave, thank you for staying open. And I promise you, they would do this. And the great thing about this, Glenn, this is not a left or right issue. Okay, this is just a freedom issue and a common sense issue and a survival issue. And that's why I do get a lot of support from both sides. It's not a political. That's what's so great about this. It's not like that. It's just about common sense and fairness. Do you know, Glenn, next door to us, right over here, on that against that wall, on the other side of that wall, is a jeweler. They repair watches and everything like that. They got to stay open indoors and do business. Yes, they had to limit their capacity, but there's never more than 2 people in a jewelry store at a time anyway. I was outdoors in the open air, and I got penalized, and I got in trouble, and I'm still getting in trouble. The health department was here 20 minutes, a half hour ago. They come in every Tuesday and Thursday. They write a citation. They're not fining me right now because because of the health department and legal issues. They kept pushing it back, and it was unfair to keep fining me. But our fines were in excess of $80,000, and they've brought them down because they do want to settle also.
The health department wants to settle.
Well, I think it doesn't look good for anybody. People in the community, when the shutdown was going on, yes, there were people who were angry that we were open, but a lot of people very happy we were open. People came from all over Southern California. We had lines all the way down to the supermarket, 80 yards deep. I'm not kidding, just to be here to support Cronies. But the community is now saying to the city, you're still suing Cronies? Businesses are open. Things are normal. This is before the new variant coming in, but they just couldn't believe. You're still pursuing Cronies Sports Grill. Now, this is the city I'm referring to right now. The county, like I said, that lawsuit keeps going. Our next meeting is in September. We'll see what happens. And the city, let me share this with you also. The city, my trial was supposed to be last week, okay? But our attorney, Rhonda Kennedy, who's doing such a great job, thank goodness for Rhonda. She knew somebody who was working for the DA's department. Small cities sometimes sub out their DAs, and she knew somebody, and he was talking with her, and he told her, listen, maybe I'll take over this case for the DA. And for whatever reason, they said, look, we'll make you a deal. We'll put off the trial till after your county meetings in September. But what you have to give us is you have to remove your outdoor dining, your temporary outdoor dining. You know how a lot of restaurants, which we did, put tents outside and canopies, and people eat outside in the open air. That's what we were doing the whole time. So they said, we'll put off your case till later, your trial till later, if you take that outdoor canopy down. We said, okay, we'll do that because we do not want to go to jail. We do not want criminal charges, and we want this put off as long as we possibly can to see if there's other options or ways we can settle this. But so now I have no temporary outdoor dining, and my customers don't have the option to eat outside. So essentially, the city of Agora Hills forced customers to be indoors as opposed to the option of outdoors in the open air.
Dave, I can't imagine what it is like to, live in California, a state I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I always wanted to live in California. And here you are in the most repressive situation. Are there more people on your street? Are there other businesses that have had enough and are standing up with you now? Or is it going the other way?
Well, no, there are other businesses and other restaurants. I'm in LA County here, but just a mile up the road is Ventura County, and there was a handful of people who fought. That is how I met Rhonda Kennedy, because she was representing a lot of those businesses who were being penalized by the Ventura County Health Department, and she stepped in, and I met her that way, and she helped me out. But yes, there's others who are fighting also, and they've had the same problems and risked losing their business, the same as I'm doing.
Dave, thank you so much for talking to us. Thanks for taking a hard stand. It's remarkable what you're doing.
Glenn, well, I appreciate that. I just want to tell you, it is so difficult. I'm supposed to be a restaurant guy, okay? I'm supposed to be dealing with scheduling, with expansion, with the menu, and I can't do that. What I am is someone who is fighting the people who are supposed to be protecting me, the people who are supposed to be fighting for the small business. My own government is the one who's coming down on me. And the crazy thing is, the health department, all these representatives come in, and they seem to be understanding on our side, but they say that they have no choice. They have to follow through with this stuff, or it's going to be their job. It's just very hurtful. My wife Christine, and I and my partner struggle with this every day, and it's brought so much stress. You know, it's difficult, but I just think. I thank good God for people like our customers who stand behind us, the B.R.A.V.E. Coalition, which I'm part of, who supports us, and people like you, Glenn. Not many people step up and help us, and you have helped me so much. You've helped the community so much. You're a true patriot. Well, and I did want to meet you, man. I think someday we will meet again. We will. And I just want to thank you, buddy. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Dave. All the best. We're going to come back in a second, because if you're going to stand against government tyranny, as Franklin said, we all better hang together or we will hang separately. I'm going to speak next to a man who started a coalition that we've just talked about, B.R.A.V.E., that's leading the way. Stand by. I can't believe, hey, it's almost like I don't recognize my country this week. Homeowners have quite the opportunity in front of them right now. If you own your home, you can save money when you need it most. And I'm talking hundreds of dollars a month, possibly up to $1,000 a month. All you have to do is refinance your mortgage. But please don't wait too long before calling American Financing, because it's not just the interest rates that you could miss out on. It's getting a loan. It is quite a storm headed your way. You can learn about how much money you could save in a custom loan program just by going to AmericanFinancing.net. AmericanFinancing.net, or you can call them. The numbers at the bottom of the screen, 800-906-2440. All right, so Matt Brimajon, he is the president of the B.R.A.V.E. Coalition, business representing American values and enterprises. A coalition formed out of the COVID pandemic to help small business owners fight back against unfair government restrictions. One of B.R.A.V.E.'s biggest victories so far in California is forcing the Ventura County Board of Supervisors to dismiss all remaining lawsuits against any business that didn't comply with the renewed government restrictions at the end of last year. B.R.A.V.E. has been one of the few allies of small business owners in their desperate struggle for survival during the pandemic. Matt, welcome to the program. It's my understanding that you are a small business owner yourself. You have Mrs. Olson's Coffee Hut?
Yes, sir. Yeah, located in Ventura County.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course, we all know Mrs. Olson was that.
Business for about.
We all know Mrs. Olson is that nosy person who always saved marriages for women who didn't make Folgers coffee for her husband. Are you the founder of B.R.A.V.E.?
B.R.A.V.E. came about. There was about 6 businesses when the shutdown hit that, we were like-minded. We wanted to stay open, and we knew that, as individuals, they were going to pick us apart, and we needed to have a voice. So we started the B.R.A.V.E. Coalition, and when the B.R.A.V.E. Coalition started, it ended up, there's about 8 of us, and within the 2 weeks, there was over 125 of us that had come together. We have authors, we have, some very, very smart minds, doctors, attorneys, all walks of life just started coming to B.R.A.V.E. It was a place where people could be themselves, they could express themselves, and then fight back. I saw Dave Folds, on TV one day, and he's there fighting this thing, and I said, that's what we have to do. We all got to stick together. And I called up Dave, and sure enough, within 2 weeks we started the B.R.A.V.E. Coalition, and right now we're over 350 strong. We're probably one of the most powerful coalitions in the state of California, and we're making a lot of change.
So what is it that you do for small businesses? I'm a small business in California. I'm under attack. What is it that you do?
A lot of small businesses come to us, and when you come to the B.R.A.V.E. Coalition, we have some very, very brilliant minds there. We have Rhonda Kennedy, who's probably one of the best attorneys in the country. She gives out advice. We have, doctors there, Judy Mikovits, She's brilliant, and so they help these people, right? So they give them advice. They're not charging these people a ton of money to do all this stuff, and it gives them a hope. It gives them a place that they're seeing other individuals that are succeeding, fighting back. A lot of these other coalitions, they get together, they just they complain and complain, but we actually take action. And we started a recall against Linda Parks, who was actually one of the Board of Supervisors that voted to shut us down. So, we're taking action and fighting back for what we know is right.
It's amazing to me, Matt, that 350 businesses sounds like a lot, and yet we have about 50 million businesses, small businesses in America. Or I'm sorry, 350 million businesses in America, and you only have 350 businesses. Would you ever have expected this from American businessmen, that 520 days in, they'd still be allowing the government to keep them closed?
It actually amazes me because we set the path work. We beat the county. We beat them. We succeeded. So our message is, hey, we won. We can be open. So can you. All you have to do is stand up for yourself. And then the Board of Supervisors, when we beat them, they come out and they thank the businesses for closing and for helping out the general public, when they should have actually apologized to all those businesses, because they could have been open, they could have flourished. They half of these businesses are bankrupt, they'll never come back. And but we have the model. We are succeeding. We are open. I never shut down the entire time. I never recognized any social distancing. I never wore masks. We played live music. We have dancing. And that's the reason I stayed open, was to give back to the people what they were missing. And I don't understand why a lot of these business owners don't just stand up for what their rights are. These mandates and orders, they're just mandates and orders. They're not laws,
Matt?
So it frustrates me that a lot of businesses don't open.
I'm thrilled that you have followed your own path and started B.R.A.V.E. Anything we can do to help you, let me know. Thank you very much.
Glenn, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
You bet. So I want to talk to you a little bit about one of the things they say: lose weight, stay in shape, have good lung. Basically, I'm a COVID target because I don't do any of that. Except the problem is, if you're a gym owner, you're going to go to jail, apparently. I have a gym owner next who will tell you about the criminal charges she's fighting now. Next. Ever since my dog, Uno, tried rough greens for the very first time, he is a completely different dog. I mean, really, honestly. I hear from people all over the country that say the same thing. My wife we couldn't get him to gain weight, ever. And he was about 90 pounds, 89, 91. And the doctor was like, you got to get him to gain weight. He should be about 100 pounds. And I'm like, I know, he won't eat. Tanya just brought him back from the doctor. He's at his highest weight yet, 95 pounds. And I think it's because he's running all the time. Otherwise, I think he'd be a big fat fatty. Anyway, my dog loves rough greens. It is not a dog food. It's what you put on top, full of vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega oils, all the stuff that you're supposed to have. Your dog needs it too. It's rough greens. Get a little teeny trial pack for your dog. It's free. You just have to pay for shipping. And give it to your dog. Put it on top of the food and see if he eats it. If they eat it, then go and order a real bag, and you will see the difference. Over a couple of months, your dog will really, he'll be younger and better healthy and just, oh my gosh, you can't keep up with him. And my German Shepherd is almost 10. Roughgreens.com/Beck. Go there now. Roughgreens.com/Beck. 833-GLEN-33. All right, I want to introduce you to a hardened criminal. I mean, bring her up on screen. Just look at her. Criminal, she screams prison, doesn't she? Her name is Lindsay Cohen. She's the owner of BSF Fitness, a local gym in Ventura, California. She is also the vice president of the B.R.A.V.E. coalition. BSF Fitness has refused to shut their gym down when indoor operations were restricted. And because of that, they were ordered to pay over $10,000 in fine. They are currently fighting criminal charges The fitness center also has been found in contempt of court for 19 additional violations following a preliminary injunction. And the jailbird is with us now. Hello, Lindsay.
Hi there, how are you?
Very good. I want one of those sweatshirts, the B.R.A.V.E. Ventura County. But
yes, absolutely.
Do you make them in extra, extra, extra fat? Because I don't know if you sell those at the gym. But anyway. So you are actually facing jail time. Tell me about your experience. What happened?
Oh, goodness, it's been crazy. We have been pursued from the beginning by the DA, and it's been hard. It's been hard on our family. It's been hard on our members. It's been hard on us. But since the beginning, we shut down actually for 2 weeks, the initial COVID shutdown. Mm-hmm. And then we realized we weren't doing our community any favors by staying shut down. The one thing you won't hear the CDC or the government tell you is to start eating healthy, to go to the gym, or to put yourself in a better position to fight off COVID or anything else that might come rear its head, right? Because they all talk about the superbug, that's going to happen, right? So we have to prepare ourselves. And in doing so, a lot of people don't have the equipment or the ability to do that at home. And so us staying closed, we were really handicapping our community and hurting them more than helping them. So we opened up 2 weeks in, and then was immediately pursued by the DA. We were getting fined $500 a day, and then the DA threatened us with an additional $2,500 a day to now $3,000 a day. So we're over $675,000 in fines. Yeah, and in negotiations for us murderers.
In negotiations for what? To pay it?
No, the only thing that we have actually paid so far is their attorney fees of about $1,800. Other than that, we haven't been able to pay anything else. I mean, we still have to pay 100% of our property taxes. We still have to pay all of our employees. We still have to put food on the table for our 2 toddlers. We can't pay the contempt fines. We can't pay the $675,000, but we're willing to make our business a battleground for freedom, and we'll do it till the end.
So I don't know how people feel watching this, but if I'm watching this and I'm on the fence and I'm like, I should open up, but I don't want, you hearing all the trouble, talk to somebody who is in a business, they don't want trouble, but they also don't want to stay closed. Why would you do it? Would you do it all again if you knew the trouble you were going to get into?
Yes, because it's not about me. It's not about my husband, and it's really ultimately, well, it is for my kids. It's for everybody's kids. If the people that are able to make a stand don't, what chance does anybody have? You know, in the beginning, we looked around looking for lawyers just to stand up, to defend us. And we had to pick from the bottom of the barrel, literally, to someone that handed us over to the judge. I mean, we paid him $25,000 to be held in contempt, and our current attorney has kept us out of court free of charge.
Wow. It is amazing. I mean, do you recognize your country? Because I don't.
I do. I do, because I see the people of B.R.A.V.E.
Good for you.
I surround myself with people that do see what this country's about, and God does win in the end. And that's what I have to keep reminding myself, is no matter how crazy this gets, I'm sticking up for what I'm going to be able to look my maker in the eye and say, I hope he says, job well done.
God bless you. God bless you. Thank you so much, Lindsay. We'll follow your case.
Thank you.
Now, if the government wants to take our personal freedoms to court, civil disobedience is not enough. When we come back, we'll hear from an attorney who is helping to make sure this never happens again. Back in a minute. Man, I'm an alcoholic, and those beer taps look good, didn't they? If you're one of the millions of Americans who suffer every day from pain, I want you to listen up. There is hope. It comes in the form of Relief Factor. Every day I see testimonials of people who have tried Relief Factor for their pain, gotten their life back, and I know it happens firsthand. A couple of years ago, I could barely use my hands. The camera people knew we'd had signals when to get the camera off of me, because my hands would shake so bad. It is a remarkable journey that I have gone on with Relief Factor, and I'm fine. I can write, I can paint, because I'm out of pain. Relief Factor, try it. Not a drug, developed by doctors. Get the 3-week quick start. Try it for $19.95. 70% of the people who try it go on to order more. It's ReliefFactor.com. ReliefFactor.com. Go there now. Rhonda Kennedy is the mother of 6. She's an attorney who has been representing Cronies Sports Bar in Agora Hills, California. She's also currently running as a Republican to represent California's 26th congressional district. As I mentioned in the opening segment of tonight's show, Cronies Sports Bar is in the middle of a legal fight with Los Angeles County. The county has brought criminal charges and levied tens of thousands of dollars in fines against Cronies for defying lockdown orders in an effort just to stay in business. Rhonda is rocking everybody's world in California, or at least in this area in Los Angeles and Ventura County. Rhonda, we're happy you're here.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. So you were the one that came out, and when the governor said you got to close all gun stores, you are the one that brought it to the Ninth Circuit of Court of Appeals, which always screws things up, and you got them to open gun stores again. How?
That's right. Well, by enforcing the Constitution. I mean, just because there's a pandemic or a little scare doesn't mean that our Constitution is suspended. No, our founding fathers fought for our rights, and these are the rights of the people. And I'm going to make sure that every individual in this county and in this country is able to exercise their constitutional rights.
So they will say, the argument is, let's move from guns to, let's say, Cronies. The argument is that, well, this is an emergency, a medical emergency, and the government has a right to do this. Is this case even close on Cronies? Is this a hard call if we weren't living in such political times?
This is exactly political. However, even if you're a business owner, you have constitutional rights too. There's a Fifth Amendment right in the takings clause. So if the government wants to close businesses, because if it's a compelling government interest, then they need to compensate these businesses. You can't just take property without just compensation. And I don't think that the county thought about that. I mean, they pulled it in Ventura County with 8 other businesses, and I was successfully able to keep those businesses open and force the county to dismiss their lawsuits.
And what is the case? Are these guys going to jail? We've had 2 people on in the last 20 minutes that might go to jail. Are they going to jail?
They're threatening jail time. Actually, the owners of Cronies are facing criminal charges, misdemeanor criminal charges, where they could spend up to a year in jail for staying open. This is absolutely ridiculous, and I think every American should be terrified that they could be next. Right now it's businesses, but what's next? They could be coming for you next, so we all need to band together and protect these businesses and protect everyone's constitutional rights, because one day they could be coming for yours.
So what needs to be done so they don't? We're teaching this government all of the wrong lessons. By closing, we're teaching them, oh my gosh, we can get away with that. Something I never thought would happen in America is happening and endorsed by a lot of people. What has to be done to ensure this doesn't happen again?
Well, these elected officials are just that. They're elected by the people. One of the things that we did in Ventura County is we started the recall of one of the boards of supervisors, the ringleader in closing these businesses. And so we need to start recalls across the country from these elected officials to tell them that they govern at our consent. that this is our country. It's we the people, not we the elected officials who like to sit on their throne. I mean, we got rid of King George a long time ago, and now we're not going to have King Biden. No, it's about the people.
When people are pursuing this line of thought of, I have a right to stay open, I'm going to, do you have any advice for anybody who is doing this on how they can lessen trouble? Is there any way to do that?
Yes, take them to court. One of the ways that we were successful in Ventura County is that I noticed a deposition to depose our Minnie Fauci, our health officer in Ventura County, and they did not want him deposed because they could not back their causes up. They could not back their statements up. They could not back their science up. And when you get them under oath and they have to actually answer those hard questions under the penalty of perjury, they kind of scurry away at that point. So I think business owners should find attorneys, Republican attorneys, or attorneys that just believe in the Constitution to challenge these government entities. It's very hard to find. However, like B.R.A.V.E, the organization, the coalition of B.R.A.V.E, they found me through the gun case, and I've been representing businesses and defending businesses, and I'm not alone. There's other attorneys as well who are like-minded like myself who are representing businesses in other counties. So it's hard, but I think they should find organizations like B.R.A.V.E and other coalitions that have the resources and have the attorneys to help them.
Rhonda, you are running for Congress, I hear, or so the banner behind you says. What are you running on? Is this the issue you're running on, or what is it that you're hoping to change in Congress?
I'm hoping to change a little bit of common sense and to go back to the Constitution. I mean, there are so many unconstitutional laws that are being passed, and especially here in California. And what happens is those laws get challenged, and it's quite costly. I know how much court cases cost, and we need to get back to the Constitution. And I want to get to Congress and deal with, Nancy Pelosi and AOC and all her merry bands of constitutional destroyers and fight for the Constitution. So I'm a constitutionalist.
Is that even does that voter even exist in California? I mean, have you seen polls or anything? How are you faring?
Well, actually, this is my second run. I ran in 2020, and my opponent got 94% of her votes were mail-in ballots, and I beat her in person 3-1. And miraculously, there were 300,000 extra registered voters in Ventura County, and I lost by 70,000 votes. Wow. So I'm very popular amongst
real people,
all voters.
Rosa, thank you.
Real people, exactly.
Thank you so much. Best of luck, and thanks for being on the program. You can find her at Rhonda for Congress. Truly, everything is about the power of one, which is a theme of our 10th anniversary of Mercury One. Find out more about it at mercury1.org. From Dallas, good night.